A brand new trailer for X-Men 97 Season 2 just leaked, and the internet is absolutely losing its mind. And if you haven't seen it yet, don't worry, because today we're breaking it down together, frame by frame, leaving nothing on the table. Welcome to Avengers Protocol. If you're new here, this is the channel where the Marvel Universe gets analyzed the right way. Subscribe right now and hit that notification bell, because we drop content like this constantly, and you do not want to miss a single upload. Alright, let's get into it. A while back, a first trailer for X-Men 97 Season 2 leaked, and it actually used footage from the classic animated series featuring Apocalypse, making it very clear that the second season is going to go deep on that villain. But even though no official trailer has dropped yet, a second leak hit the internet, this time in much better quality, showing way more of the story and introducing brand new characters. And I'll be honest, I held off covering this, waiting to see if Marvel would make an official release. They didn't. And what's genuinely baffling is that these trailers are still up on YouTube. Disney hasn't taken them down. The most recent one already crossed 200,000 views. So here we are. The teaser opens with a group of teenagers being guided by a mysterious light, and as the scene unfolds, we realize that light is being controlled by a specific character. These teenagers end up at an abandoned mansion. Which mansion? The Xavier Mansion. Remember how Season 1 ended with the X-Men scattered across time? Part of the team got thrown into a dystopian future. Another part ended up in ancient Egypt. That, logically, would have created an altered present, one where the Xavier Mansion sits abandoned and young mutants have nowhere to turn. And this is where things get really interesting, because we can start breaking down exactly who these young mutants are. The character with the orange hat and green outfit is the one projecting that bird-shaped light. This is almost certainly Oya, also known as Ide Okonkwo, a mutant with the power to manipulate light and temperature. Another new face is a girl who is very likely Monet St. Croix, a character with two distinct forms. Her human form is absurdly overpowered: telepathy, flight, super strength, telekinesis. She's basically broken in the best possible way. But in her alternate form, the penance form, she becomes incredibly durable, with razor-sharp claws and that striking, unsettling appearance that makes her instantly recognizable. The character behind them is Prodigy, who can absorb the skills and knowledge of everyone around him, combat techniques, academic knowledge, you name it. Useful in the classroom. Even more useful in the middle of a fight. The one shown from behind is still a mystery, but a lot of people online are theorizing it could be Cypher, a mutant capable of understanding any language or code system. Looking at him head-on, the resemblance to the comics is pretty solid. Some people, though, are pointing to Elixir, who has biokinesis, meaning he can control living cells and organisms at will. An insanely powerful character, so much so that he was essential to the mutant resurrection process during the Krakoa era. And then there's the one in pink, who absolutely has to be mentioned. He's a telepath with power levels comparable to Jean Grey, so much so that he's directly associated with the Phoenix Force. In the comics, there's a strong suggestion that he may one day become its host. That's Quentin Quire. And yes, he's exactly as dangerous as he sounds. And watching all of this come together gave me a very specific feeling. It's almost like Stranger Things, right? Teenagers sneaking into the abandoned mansion of heroes who no longer exist in their world. It's a fresh perspective that's going to work incredibly well narratively, because we're going to have two parallel storylines running at once. The new X-Men in the present dealing with a broken reality, and the classic X-Men stranded in different points in history. We then see the X-Men falling into a time rift. And when the trailer starts leaning into time travel, guess who shows up? Ramatut, who appeared in the comics as an alternate version of Kang the Conqueror. Let's be real, in the Marvel Universe, talking about time travel without Kang involved is almost impossible. Now, what's going to be fascinating is seeing how they adapt the relationship between Ramatut and N'Subah, the ancient mutant who eventually becomes Apocalypse. We also see Rogue, Beast, and Nightcrawler dressed in ancient clothing, which confirms they're in the ancient Egypt time period. These characters are going to walk us through the rise of Apocalypse, exploring N'Subah's origin during the Ramatut era. In the original comics, Ramatut traveled to ancient Egypt specifically because he knew about Apocalypse's power and wanted to mold him into a kind of heir. Kang the Conqueror has a very specific interest in N'Subah, and the implications of that are enormous. Now the contrast with the future. What we're seeing there is most likely Earth 4935 or something very close to it, the reality where Apocalypse fully ascended to power and dominated the world. That's the future Cable comes from. The son of Scott Summers and Madeline Pryor, who was infected with the techno-organic virus as an infant and sent to the future by Bishop to be saved. Speaking of Cable, we see Scott Summers alongside Jean Grey and their son Cable in the trailer. Technically, Cable is the son of Jean's clone, not Jean herself. But biologically, the DNA is identical. So, you know, Mom is who raises you. The visual design for young Cable looks great. And I genuinely can't stop wondering, are they going to bring young Cable to the present at some point? Because in several recent comic runs, young Cable comes back to the present and lives alongside the X-Men. That would be a fascinating dynamic to explore. We also get a shot of the family standing together, resisting Apocalypse's robots. Pure emotion. And then Cable delivers what might be the most important line in the entire trailer. "We have to bring the X-Men back to the 90s. Which immediately raises the question, from what vantage point is Cable speaking? Is he in the present with the New Mutants? Is he in the dystopian future? The answer isn't clear yet, but the narrative setup looks incredible. Now let's go through the specific details that really stood out, one by one. Storm appears with a power that looks genuinely dark and threatening, paired with a brand new uniform that honestly looks spectacular. Credit where it's due. Wolverine, who lost his adamantium at the end of Season 1, had been shown in promotional images looking more feral, more primal, which is exactly what happens to him in the comics during this period. But the trailer strongly suggests he's going to get it back. And along with it, his clarity of mind. Jubilee shows up with a new suit, and her powers actually seem useful this time around. About time. Sunspot, who had a brief appearance in Season 1, is back with a proper uniform and a much more defined presence. And then there's Archangel. And this matters, he's not just the Angel from the X-Men anymore. This is his version as one of the Horsemen of Apocalypse. And whether you're ready for it or not, that opens the door for Gambit's return. Because in the comics, Gambit was also transformed by Apocalypse into the Horseman of Death, after his devastating death in Season 1, which was one of the most emotionally impactful moments in the entire series. The chances of them bringing him back through that exact storyline are genuinely high. There's one image in particular that's just epic: Bishop in the past, Professor Xavier in the background, Rogue, Beast, Nightcrawler, and Magneto. That Magneto visual, by the way, is giving serious Ian McKellen energy, very similar to what we're expecting to see in Avengers: Doomsday. But that's a conversation for another video. We also see Jean Grey mimicking Wolverine's claws to deflect Cyclops' optic blast. Honestly, a little humiliating for Scott, but visually stunning. And it's a great example of something this show does better than any movie ever has, using Cyclops' power in genuinely creative and dynamic ways. Then Omega Red shows up, Wolverine's iconic villain. That could be pointing directly at a return of the Weapon X project, which makes complete sense if Logan is getting his adamantium back. If you're enjoying this breakdown, hit that like button right now. It's a small gesture that tells the algorithm this content is worth pushing to more people who love Marvel as much as you do. And if you're not subscribed to Avengers Protocol yet, this is your moment. Subscribe, hit the bell, and become part of the community. We keep going. We see adult Cable from behind as a Sentinel walks right past him. Then a brief exchange between Professor Xavier and Magneto. And then someone appears who most people tend to overlook: Polaris, Magneto's forgotten daughter. The one nobody talks about, but who is absolutely formidable. She has powers comparable to her father's, she's part of the X-Factor lineup, and the trailer shows her wielding those powers with complete control. The character appearing alongside her is likely Valerie Cooper, the government liaison between mutants and humans who already had a presence in Season 1. Shortly after, we get the full X-Factor team: Multiple Man, Siren, who is Banshee's daughter and inherited that devastating sonic scream, and Wolfsbane, whose powers are rooted in lycanthropy, but she's a mutant, not a werewolf. Some of these characters, like Multiple Man, already appeared in Season 1 helping rebuild Genosha. Hopefully this time around they get significantly more screen time. Then comes a shot that is just visually brutal: Colossus standing alongside Bishop. Both of them look absolutely incredible. I'm already thinking about the action figures. Toward the end we get a glimpse of what appears to be the full team reunited in what looks like the present, with most of them wearing the new uniforms. Beast, Morph, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm in a black suit, Forge, Wolverine in his brown suit, Adult Cable, Sunspot, Jubilee, Psylocke, and Archangel, who by that point has presumably returned to the side of the heroes. And the trailer closes by reaffirming the season's central threat: Apocalypse. He appears with a genuinely striking new design. Worth noting that Apocalypse did appear in the classic animated series, but his origin was never explored with this kind of depth. X-Men 97 Season 2 is going to change that completely. And in the final seconds of the trailer, there appears to be a reactivation of the Weapon X project. Morph is there. And given how deep his connection to Wolverine runs, it makes complete sense that he'd be the one pushing to restart that project to give Logan his adamantium back. Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike also show up, with Deathstrike closing the trailer with a joke about a CD. The kind of detail that makes you smile even when you're trying to stay serious. Before wrapping up, something important worth mentioning: Beau DeMayo, the creative mind behind the return of this series as X-Men 97, was removed from the production before Season 1 even premiered. But he had already mapped out 3 full seasons. That means the story we're watching was built to be connected from the very beginning, with narrative coherence baked in from the first scene to the last. The odds of this being something special are very, very high. If you made it all the way to the end, that means this matters to you as much as it does to us. Drop a like on the video, leave a comment telling us what got you most hyped from this trailer, and subscribe to Avengers Protocol if you haven't already. Every subscription, every like, every comment is what keeps this channel going and allows us to keep bringing you analysis like this. It genuinely makes a difference. This is Avengers Protocol, signing out.